Hey guys, this is EcksToo. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars Squadrons video, and today we will be looking at 5 insane details which you may have missed from the recent Star Wars Squadrons short, Hunted. Before we get into today's content, however, a quick question for you guys. Do you think it's possible that we get a New Republic cinematic trailer? We know that the Star Wars Squadrons campaign focuses on both the New Republic and the Imperial storyline, and that this short for the Empire sets up the backstory of Titan Squadron immediately before the game. Is it possible we see the New Republic side? Let me know down in the comments and I'll give my thoughts at the end of the video. So our first fact is a short one and comes from @Katsuki, a viewer of the EcksToo channel. They point out that the TIE bomber killed by the New Republic as it's trying to retreat is called Titan 3. As we heard in the last campaign trailer, that's actually the same call sign as the player-controlled character in the game. So essentially, you're seeing how a spot opened up on Titan Squadron, which you will fill with your customized character in the game's campaign. This is not dissimilar to how Red 5 died, so Luke could join in at the Battle of Yavin, or, my first thought, the Deliver Hope trailer for Halo Reach, which saw the original Noble 6 die in action, which is a spot you of course fill in the game's campaign. So this is a very cool detail and tells us not only that you will be playing as a member of Titan Squadron, but also as a new member, alongside squad veterans including Varco Gray, the main character in this cinematic. Alright, detail number 2 is the insane attention paid to the HUDs and consoles of the starfighters featured in the short. So not only did ILM use exact replicas of the squadron's interiors as they appear in the game, maybe even files from the game itself, but meticulous detail was paid so that the consoles themselves almost tell a bit of a story. Most prominently, we have Gray's TIE Interceptor. So if we look at the screens within his cockpit, we can see actual components available within the game. And I'm going to give a shout out to SquadronsBuilder.com, which has a ship builder allowing you to see all of the components. But his loadout includes the Sayonara target jammer, the Sayonara emergency repair system, and the Sayonara sensor inverter. The repair system is my favorite because we can see that Gray still has a single use of his repair at the beginning of the battle. However, after he takes damage, the component has been fully exhausted, indicating that he's attempting to repair his craft, or at least make some fixes, which is something you'll do all the time playing as the TIE Interceptor within the game, because they are a bit more fragile, and it was, to me, the most useful component when I tried the game. However, there's far more than that. We can also see the use of the countermeasure when the missile is fired, the TIE Interceptor's lasers recharge, Gray shifts power to the engines when he's making a run for the Star Destroyer, and just generally there's a lot of really nice details. There's also a ton of Aurebesh within the trailer. I didn't go through all of it, but we can see, for example, when he's targeting the MC-75 that his targeting computer says MC-75 Cruiser. Alright, so my next detail is a pretty small one, and it's just in regards to the general tactics used by both fleets in this battle, which are actually pretty sensible. One thing I really like in particular is the fact that when Gray is making his run at the enemy capital ships, a line of corvettes move in to screen against the attack. And as a commander, this is exactly what you want to do. Although capital ships are incredibly strong, they're still vulnerable to starfighter attacks just because of the size and slow-moving nature of their weapons, at least generally. Corvettes, on the other hand, are great at taking out starfighters. They've got small, nimble laser cannons, they are fast themselves, so instead of risking damage, the New Republic moves its corvettes in to protect its capital ships. Very cool. Just generally though, this battle also matches somewhat what you would expect to see in the late stages of a fleet battle. One side clearly has the morale and the tactical advantage. Enemy starfighters are fighting for supremacy in between the two capital ships, and as the New Republic gains a foothold, the MC-75 cruisers advance on the Star Destroyer and begin to launch what could be killing blows. If you want to really stretch this analogy, you can almost see the moment where momentum turns, which is exactly what will happen in the game. The Empire loses their offensive corvette, the Raider, which you do gain in squadrons when you're attacking, and that shift in morale is enough to put the New Republic on the offensive. However, I want to tie this discussion into my next point, which is the inclusion of in-game features. So the most obvious thing in this video that will feature in Star Wars Squadrons is the countermeasure. Specifically, it's the Imperial Sayonara target inverter, and that's available only for interceptors. According to the description, it redirects a missile locked onto you back towards your target. However, the downside is that it only works at very close range, which of course is exactly what we see in the trailer. So it's sort of a high risk, high reward type of item, and I just think it's cool that the animation decided to use that instead of just basic flares or chaff, which may have been a little bit easier, but wouldn't have had the same cool featuring of real gameplay scenarios. I also like the interaction between the TIE Interceptor and the X-Wing. Now, this isn't unique to Squadrons, but I do like the way the balance between these two crafts is portrayed. The X-Wing is an all-around starfighter, however the TIE Interceptor is more fragile, but trades shielding for some of the extreme maneuvers that it pulls off in the teaser, which the X-Wing just simply is not able to keep up with. On that note, another in-game mechanic that we see is the use of the drift, and I just love this. I've covered the drift plenty of time in prior videos, so I won't belabor the point here, but basically we see Gray put the TIE Interceptor in a high intensity turn so that it can turn around and immediately fire on its pursuer, which is very cool. You can also use cloud cover like this in the game on at least one map, and that's the Yavin Prime location. That map is more open than, say, the Nadiri shipyards, but we've heard from Ian Fraser that one strategy will be, when under fire, to dip down into the top levels of the planet's atmosphere, where you will take some damage, but be very difficult to spot. Of course, you take some damage because Yavin Prime is a gas giant and there's way too much pressure for the craft to stay for too long, unlike the planet featured in this teaser. Alright, the final detail is one we've covered in prior videos, so I will keep this pretty short, and it just relates to the capital ships used by both the New Republic and the Empire. First of all, when it comes to the Empire, the Overseer, which is Titan Squadron Star Destroyer, is kind of weird. It's clearly meant to be an Imperial 2 based on how they've approximated the Imperial 2's tower. However, in reality, the ship is actually just an altered Imperial 1. You can tell because it uses double turbo lasers next to the superstructure instead of the large octuple barbettes, and more noticeably because that's not actually an Imperial 2 tower up at the top. Instead, it's just a modified Imperial 1, and you can tell based on the way that the struts sort of converge in the middle rather than just being parallel. Not really a big deal, and I assume this is done because Lucasfilm already has a really high quality ISD-1 Star Destroyer from Rogue One and Solo, and it seems like they haven't got around to making an ISD-2 yet, which is a bit odd. There's another ISD-1 in the trailer, the one being destroyed at the dock, and on the New Republic side, we've got this sort of weird Mon Calamari cruiser. It's actually an MC-95E from Star Wars Episode 9, although in one shot it actually switches to a standard MC-95, but I would guess that it's probably meant to simply portray some sort of MC-80, perhaps a Home 1 type, perhaps a wingless type, I'm not sure. But guys, those are 5 insane details which you may have missed from the Star Wars Squadrons trailer. Let me know, did you catch these or not? Also, don't forget to let me know your answer to the question of the day. Do you think we will see a New Republic version of a cinematic trailer? My answer is probably not. It would make sense to have one for both factions, but I wouldn't actually be surprised if Vanguard Squadron was present at this battle. We do see an MC-75, it could be the Temperance, which was their flagship, and we are getting kind of close to launch. This short must have been extremely expensive to produce, so I'm personally not expecting another one, but I wouldn't be shocked if we did get one, perhaps maybe focusing on another member of Vanguard Squadron, but on the other hand, perhaps you'll be replacing the pilot who was killed. I don't know guys, that's all I have for you guys today though. Until next time, please be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.